Hey y'all, welcome to the Devon A. Morris Unfiltered Call-In Show. Have a seat. Let's get ready. You have any questions? Come on, call in. Come on to that Discord channel. Do me a favor, get the unfiltered crew some finger snaps. We're ready to get started here. Mondays, 8 p.m. Every single Monday, we're here. I'm excited about it. Are you? Let's get this show started, y'all. The greatest scrum show on earth. I'll see y'all soon. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. How you doing? If you don't know me, my name is Devon Morris. I am going to be your guide on this journey today. I am an agile coach, trainer, consultant, business owner, all those wonderful things wrapped up in one. Certifications jump from a CST all the way through a PMP to a diversity practitioner to a master black belt, or not a master black belt, just a black belt. So anyway, the point is I got certifications, I got all kinds of things, plus own a business and do all kinds of other things that exist. But my objective on this show is to answer the questions that you may have. So I would love for you all to join us on the show. I'm going to throw a link in the actual, I'm going to throw a link out there in just a moment. As soon as I get a second, I'll throw a link out there for everyone to join us via that link. You should have seen it at the beginning of the show, but hopefully you are ready to hit it and just kind of get started and move forward in the direction that we need to move forward in. So let me grab that link for all of us to make sure that you have it. It's a really simple link, nothing really spectacular about it. About 15 minutes, about 15 to 20 minutes into the show. Well, let me start off by saying, here's the agenda. About 15, 20 minutes into the show, we'll open up the lines for any questions that you may have. But we will begin by talking about the topic of the day. And the topic for today is user groups, networking groups, those kind of things, and just some benefits, some tips that I want to give you in reference to that, because a lot of people, especially in our community of Scrum and Agile, they're always asking questions about how can they get, Scrum education units? How can they learn more? How can they meet more people? So I'm going to say hello to those people that are over there in LinkedIn. Hello to you. I know more people will be joining. Also, we go live on YouTube. So we are live on YouTube and LinkedIn. So we're in both places. We're always in both places. We're not on our usual night. Yesterday was Valentine's Day, and I had to go to Chicago to go, deal with a teenager. Not in a bad way, right? It's Valentine's Day. When I took my daughter out so we can do a few things together, right? And the mess you always see around me keeps changing a little bit because I am updating my location so then I can make sure that I'm able to do more stuff for you. At least make it look pretty, right? At least make it look pretty. That is at the very least, right? So hello to everyone, and welcome. Now, a few things just to kind of get the housekeeping out of the way. We go live on this show every Monday at 8 p.m. Central Time, okay? And we won't change from that, right? Because Monday, 8 p.m., we're recording it as well. So those people that are on LinkedIn, you're welcome to join us on YouTube and subscribe on YouTube. I don't know if you can subscribe on LinkedIn, but one thing you can do is hit me with a like, right? On YouTube, hit me with a like, subscribe. Just show us some love, because we just will continue doing this. It's one of my ways of actually giving back. Now, here's the deal. First and foremost, things that are coming up, so you at least know. One, we have a hardship class, hardship certified Scrum Master class that's happening tomorrow. That is February 16th and 17th, and we start that at 9. Then this weekend, we have a certified Scrum product owner. We already did the hardship version of that last week. But we got our weekend edition, and we won't do that for another 3 months probably. Then the next CSM, CSPO trainings happen in mid-March. So then we take a little bit of break to get things together. But one of the big things that's coming up, if you have not heard, is we are doing a self-mastery challenge. I got a self-mastery challenge starting on the 28th. I really only opened it up to alumni, Bearded Eagle, but if you're not alumni, I will be communicating starting tomorrow to the general public about the self-mastery challenge. It's free, starts on the 28th, goes until March 4th. So it'll be a wonderful thing for you to attend, and you'll get a lot out of it. So I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully you are too. Hello to everyone that's saying hello to me in the chat. I hope you all are doing good over there. But again, you're welcome to join us on YouTube, on LinkedIn. Doesn't matter to me. We stream on both places just to try to make it easy for everyone. And maybe we'll start streaming in other places. I'm not sure. If someone can show me where it's valuable, I have no problem attempting to deal with that or at least go through it, okay? So today's topic was focused on users, focused on user groups, focused on networking. Networking is a big topic, right? Because some of you all are brand new to this Scrum thing, or you're just kind of in that beginning, what I'll say, novice or infancy stage, if I was to go by adult life cycle, right? You're just in the beginning, right? And you really want to know how to make it to some places where you see some other people have made it. Like you might use me for an example and say, well, I would like to be in a position that how do I obtain what you have obtained, Devon, right? And I've attained, several things within my journey, but it wasn't like it came easy. It didn't come easy at all. It started from a lot of the things that I'm going to do, but one of the things that I've always done is had the opportunity to network, right? And when I started, things like Meetup didn't exist. There wasn't no Scrum user groups that existed when I started. So I think it's a beautiful thing. I even started a Scrum user group at one point called Texas Agile, and then I stopped doing it because I really didn't have time. I was too much on the road, and I didn't have time to dedicate to try to grow it. And I don't like competing with the other people, so I decided to stop it at some point. And then we didn't have a bunch of people that's volunteering to take over. And because we didn't have a bunch of people volunteering to take over, I had to stop because I was too much on the road. But we have, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we have several user groups, right? And so I started talking about some of those user groups last week, that last time we had the show. But I do want to start talking about what I believe and what I'm going to say is the top 5 benefits, right? I should, write a blog post about this stuff, right? I should write a blog post about this, and probably in the future I will write a blog post about it. I'm going to go ahead before I start talking, and I'll send it again. If you have comments, if you have questions, you're welcome to get queued up right there at that particular link. I just dropped the link in the chat. On that link, if you click it, don't click it unless you want to come on the show. If you want to come on the show, great. If you don't want to come on the show and only want to provide comments and write in the comments your questions, you are welcome to do that. So think about it, get yourself ready, get yourself in motion to be able to do that, right? I also want you to remember that the copies of this video are going to be available on YouTube immediately. So if you subscribe to the channel, you'll see that those things are there. So I just want to remind you about that. Now, let's go ahead and talk about this networking user group thing, because it is important. It is important for us to deal with and do. If you are involved in this whole Agile Scrum thing, I don't know how you really get through it without some networking. That's just facts, right? Because it's unique enough where the people that don't know, they really don't know what you're talking about when you say Scrum. They really don't know what you're talking about when you say Agile. So, several of you all that's online, some of you all that will see this later, you probably have talked with family members and they're curious about what you're interested in or what you're doing. And then you say Scrum or Agile, and then it just glosses over. Their eyes gloss and roll in the back of their head. And you just go ahead and continue and move past that conversation because they don't get it. I have this happen all the time, right? Because my family really don't know what I do, and they just like, okay, Devon's over in India, Devon's over in Europe, Devon is over in in Indianapolis or in California someplace, and we don't know what he do. And a lot of times, if you all remember the show called Martin, there was a guy named Tommy on it, and so a lot of my family members have referred to me as a Tommy. They really don't know what kind of job I have, but they know I keep going to work for some strange reason, right? And so some of you all may feel a little bit like Tommy from Martin, where that's actually happening to you. So if it is, it just is what it is. But joining a networking group, a user group, and Scrum Alliance call them Scrum user groups, and I think Agile Alliance may call them Agile groups or community groups, but the idea is that they're just a networking group, right? These different types of user groups are networking groups, and classically, the user groups are started by individuals, not necessarily by entities that like for example, PMI has chapters and they'll have city-based chapters. And it's not started classically by an organization. I'm not saying that there isn't some user groups that don't have really tight ties to organizations, but normally with the user group, it's started by someone who is excited about the topic. Someone who's excited about the topic. And in this instance, excited about Scrum, Agile, and all the other practices that are associated with it, right? Because if you really look at user groups, you'll find some interesting things. Like you'll find some things that are focused on scaling. You'll find some things that are focused on some of the engineering practices. You'll find some of them focused on Agile and Scrum and, even Kanban, right? So you'll find user groups everywhere. Now, I don't know how many members you'll find, but you'll find user groups a little bit everywhere. And, prior to COVID, there was every major city that I know of had a user group. Even if it wasn't working very well, they had a user group, right? Since COVID happened, man, a lot of them went online. And unfortunately, some of them, became more defunct. But the ones that remained active, always still had people showing up. Even if 5 or 10 people, that's always a good group of people to kind of network with and talk to and really get to know, right? So when I start talking about the first thing on my list in terms of the benefits of going to a networking group, a user group or something, and specifically I'm talking user groups, right, is the inspiration that you get from the people that are involved in the group, okay? If there's number one thing that always happens to me when I am engaged in any group of people that we have something in common, it makes me feel like family's there, but what ends up happening is you get inspired by the tribe, right? Because you all are together and you realize that there's other people here that get treated like Tommy, like they ain't got a job, and you really, really get to enjoy that time with that group. Not to mention, a lot of times what happens is there's a speaker. A lot of times, almost, most nights in a lot of user groups, some of them may be focused, maybe do lean coffees or just talk about everybody bringing something, right, like a potluck. But the idea is that a lot of times there's a speaker talking for 15, 20 minutes. And that speaker is speaking about a particular topic. That topic could be about metrics. That topic could be about, managing a product backlog. That topic could be new tips and tricks for brand new Scrum Masters. It's just a lot of topics. But the thing that's unique is it's regular people most of the time. I mean, every once in a while you'll get a dignitary, somebody who has a book and somebody who has a bunch of stuff and just really, really amazingly popular in the community. You'll have those things happen, right? I remember for Texas Agile, we got Ken Schwaber to join us, right? And everybody showed up when Ken Schwaber showed up, right? But the idea is that you got regular people that have done something wonderful, that have done something great, that have done something to inspire you, right? And since they're, regular people, there's no reason why you can't connect with them, talk with them, communicate with them. It's that opportunity for you really to go shake hands. I mean, virtually, there's a different way to shake hands, but it's an opportunity for you really to get to know them, for them really to see your face, right? So then when you go to a gathering or a bigger conference of some kind, right? Then you just got a face recognition at the very least, right? They may not remember your name, remember who you are specifically, but you got face recognition, right? And so for me, I've always loved those user groups because it's regular people that bring inspiration, that brings that inspiration that allows all of us to collectively make this profession better, right? So my first thing is the inspiration that comes from the speakers and other attendees that you are involved there with, right? Because it's not only a speaker that you'll get inspiration from, trust me, there'll be somebody in the room that will drop a nugget. I mean, literally, they'll drop a little nugget and you'll be like, man, I didn't think about that way. Or man, that's 100% right. Or yeah, I need to get back to the basics, right? So that inspiration is super important. Number two on my list is the obvious one, right? Networking. Just want to get that one out the way. Networking. Whether you are there for professional reasons, social reasons, personal reasons, these groups offer you a lot of things, right? And networking would be probably the top of everybody's list. That's the thing that they always think about when they think about user groups in general. But networking means you get an opportunity to build your network, to get support from your network. Because it's one thing to go there and be inspired, right? It's another thing when you take it beyond the inspiration. When you say, hey, let me go ahead and let me get to know somebody, okay? Let me find somebody who I have something in common with. Maybe you're brand new and you're a career changer and they're brand new and they're career changer, or maybe this person have 3 kids and you have 3 kids. You can always find something in common with someone if you listen hard enough and had a conversation, did a little bit of active listening along the way, right? So the idea is that you can build a supportive network for yourself. It's another opportunity to meet new people. There's always new people coming in. Always new people, right? I remember, over the years going to gatherings, whether it's Agile Alliance or Scrum gatherings. And one of the things that's really interesting about those events is that more than 50% of the people are probably in the profession less than 3 years. And so you're definitely going to meet new people if you go to a conference, but here's another place where you can meet new people, right? If you're a regular, then you really know who's new. But that first time you go, now you're the new person and they get to meet you and you get to meet them. So it's a beautiful thing. Another thing that's amazing is something I mentioned earlier is that it's a bunch of people in the same room with similar interests. And having people in the same room that have similar interests is always going to be inspiring. And we talked about inspiring as the number one thing, but that networking part, that is going to be inspirational too. But you get to network with these people, these new people, build that supportive network. But this stuff does take work. Now, this is not one of those things where you can sit back, learn your laurels, think everybody's going to come to you. No. You really need to take the time to get to know people. If there's an industry you have in common with them, just find something you have in common with them. If you have something in common with them, beyond the agile thing, right? It's one thing to say agile, but beyond the agile thing, find something in common and use that as a way to communicate, right? And then just take it as far as you can take it, right? Nobody's saying create false or fake relationships, but create the best relationships that you can, and hopefully those relationships will be beneficial for you at some point in time. Now, number three, okay? Number 3 is probably one of the most beautiful things that exist, and that is professional development. I guess just development period, right? Because it could be personal development, professional development. Professional development helps you, one, on the job, right? But here's the thing. Some of you all actually have certifications. Matter of fact, I will assume all of you all have one Scrum certification, one Agile certification, one scaling certification. One certification is related to the space of Agile, Scrum, etc., right? And if you do have one certification, it is likely that your certification is asking for you to do continuing education. Now, in the Scrum Alliance, those things are called Scrum education units. Other places call their continuing education something different. But every time you go to a user group, you get to earn some of those kind of things. You know, if you got an hour-long user group and you go in, you participate, you're involved, you get an hour credit in terms of the Scrum Alliance. Others may do it a little bit different, but it's roughly the same. It's 90% the same. And so that professional development, because you have a certification, is going to help you when it's time to renew, because most of them will have a fee associated with some knowledge that you gained over time, right? And so that's a plus. So now professional development, that certification, those hours to get certified, all those things help, okay? Now, not to mention, a lot of times when you go into a user group, sometimes the speaker is talking about a particular book, a particular topic. You may see some videos. You know, all those things help you to develop, because the topic that they bring in, the books that they talk about, all gives you other information to walk away with and maybe dive a little bit deeper into your studies, okay? And so professional development is just another one of those big things that you can do, because when you get to that time and it's time to renew, then you're not saying to yourself, hey, where do I get these professional development units from, right? Where do I get these credits from, right? And so this is the way you can start earning those credits. I just would recommend that if you do have a certification and you do need those kind of credits, make sure you record those things quarterly. You know, kind of take some time, you know, put it in your calendar, you know, just an hour every quarter to make sure you document those things, because it's much harder to remember it after about a year. Then you're guessing it. And usually it's not that difficult to get them, right? It really isn't. So you take a look at this thing right that we're doing right now. You get Scrum education units from this. I would imagine if Agile Alliance, or matter of fact, if you're a PMP, they do Scrum related things as well. So, you know, the idea is that these kind of things, you can get some Scrum education units from. But going to a meetup, you definitely can, because a lot of them associated with those bigger groups. So that being said, that number 3, professional development, is a big plus. Now, next, 4, knowledge sharing. Knowledge sharing. Now, here you heard knowledge and then you heard sharing, which means you are sharing too. It's an exchange between you and other parties, because those other parties are coming to the user groups to get information from you too. Just because you're brand new, you being brand new, there's always something to learn from. And if there's not something to learn from, you know how it is when you've had an experience and you've seen somebody else have that experience and you can relate. You know, a lot of people can relate to your experience, right? That knowledge sharing gives you an opportunity to pick up tips and tricks of the trade. You understand? Tips and tricks of the trade. That's what you really want to get out that meetup group. Because you might have somebody who's doing a transformation over here and they're hitting a bump in the road, and you might give them the one thing that they can go do or run an experiment on that can help them switch the mindsets or change how things are moving forward. That would be good, right? If you was able to do that. You can take it further than that. Say to yourself, okay, all right, I got that, I get it. It also gives you an opportunity to problem solve. Because, you know, I've gone to user groups and people have had a problem, right? And then they'll get with a group of us and we'll just talk through it. We'll talk through it. As a group, we'll talk through it. Because a lot of times with the user groups, yeah, you may go through a speaker, but many times they leave some time toward the end, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it's going to be, for us to exchange in some kind of way. And a lot of times for me, I'm working with somebody and talking through them about a problem that they have, and maybe I have a tip that can help them get over the hump, right? And again, I don't know what they do with that information, but the idea is that you get a chance to problem solve in order to fix some things that exist. So a user group can bring that to the table for you as well. And that's just another factually amazing, beautiful thing. I love user groups for that reason. Because normally you have some really varied opinions, right? You have people working in different industries, very different companies, and some 3 years, some 5 years, some 15 years, right? And all Scrum experience isn't the same. Every 1 year isn't the same 1 year. Some people's 1 year, they only did Scrum 10% of the time. Other people's first year in Scrum, they did Scrum 150% of the time, right? So everybody's Scrum years aren't the same. And you can pull from different people's experience, or they might be working in a different area where you saw a problem at. And again, tools, tricks of the trade, right? Getting those tips is always a plus. So knowledge sharing. But my statement to you is clearly this: bring something to the group too. Bring something to the group, right? We don't always, once you get to know people, you're not always talking about Scrum and Agile. You get to know people, and hey, how's your family and all this wonderful stuff, right? So you get to know people. And I know a lot of people from the Texas Agile thing that we did, right? Still really good friends and made good relationships out of that, right? Last but not least, the fifth thing, number five, and then we'll open the floor for any questions that you have. And if you don't have any questions, we may make it an early night. We're doing it on an off night. We'll leave this video for people to actually take advantage of. The last one I think is the most important one. And that is an opportunity to grow into the agilist that you desire. Hear me again, I'm going to repeat that. User groups help give you the opportunity to grow into the agilist that you decide. So you have a dream, right? You got your current state. There's a future state of where you're trying to get to, right? And wherever that future state is that you're trying to get to, user groups can actually help you get there, okay? One thing, speaking opportunities. So let's just say you want to become a certified Scrum trainer. Bam, easy. They're going to ask for some community service. They're going to ask, what have you done in the community? Have you become a thought leader? Is something they're going to ask you. Boom, right there, speaking opportunities, right? A lot of times when people are going to go do a major conference, they actually go to local user groups to test their material out there first, to see if they got a topic that's going to stick, okay? That's going to work well for the masses, right? And so this is where that speaking opportunity will actually help you. You can actually get on the calendar for many of these places, right? And have the opportunity to speak. And guess what? You're speaking amongst family. So if it's not perfect, people are not going to wring your neck. People are not going to go crazy, because a lot of times we know that it's a place where we all get an opportunity to grow, okay? The other thing that people don't recognize is leadership opportunities. Right? When you're running a meetup, when you're running one of these groups, or you're playing a background, you lead a certain piece of this group, right? That's leadership right there. You get an opportunity to grow as a leader inside the organization and help the organization determine what the organization's future is going to be. That's major. And taking that time and earning that leadership prowess is a good thing to put on your resume, right? I almost think resumes are dead, but I won't say that, because every time I say that, I get in trouble. But the idea, though, is that leadership is something that you can utilize when you're having those conversations, when you're finding that new job, and those skills become extremely important. Whether you're leading one small team or you're leading hundreds of people, this will give you an opportunity to take on leadership within that organization. And, that right there can take you any place, right? Being able to speak in front of groups, being able to lead a group, organize a group, help to grow that group, right? It also gives you bragging rights, because you can be that person that helps turn this group from 25 people to 100 people, or 10 people coming regularly to maybe 20 people coming regularly, because of the type of programming that you all put on and how you manage these things. So now when you go and do this in front of bigger groups of people, it just becomes easier for you. Okay? So let me repeat these things so that I can make sure you are clear on them, and we just spell them out real quick. User groups, right? Again, they're normally started by people that are involved in that community in some kind of way. That's how user groups are normally started by. They're started by the people that are involved in that community. That's what you will normally see. So if you got a person that loves cats, they might create a cat lovers user group, okay? In this case, you got people who love Agile, Scrum, etc. You will be involved in that kind of a user group, right? So now, one, you will be inspired by the people around you, not just the speakers, but also the attendees. And that's really, really important. Two, an opportunity for networking, right? Because the idea is that networking is probably the key reason why most people think about going to user group. Opportunity to build your network, right? Opportunity to meet new people, right? That have similar interests with you. Number 3, professional development. Professional development is key to what we do. You want to grow professionally. You also, if you have a certification of some kind, you get some continuing education from actually doing things like this. So that's just an additional benefit. Not to mention, you'll hear about books, videos, YouTube. There's all kinds of different things you'll hear about from the people that exist in a group. So you'll always have that opportunity to continue that professional development. Number four is knowledge sharing. And it isn't just a situation where you are getting the information from everybody, but it's also you giving people your experience, right? Because you may have a different perspective on something that happened to someone else, right? Because you come from it from a different lens, right? And so you can pick up tips and tricks of the trade, right? You can also have an opportunity to problem solve your issues and get tips on how to fix it. Number five, the last one here, right, is an opportunity to grow into the agilist that you desire to be, okay? And that's probably the one that I would think is the most important for most people, is they want an opportunity to grow into the agilist that they desire to be. So realistically, you got 1 through 5 on user groups, meetups, networking groups, whatever you want to call them, okay? Here's the deal. As we start moving forward, I'd like to go ahead and open up the floor and see if you all have any questions about anything, any problems that you've had recently related to Agile and Scrum. Please take a moment to put those in the chat. I know it's not our regularly scheduled night, but welcome to YouTube, welcome to LinkedIn. If you're seeing the video at a later date, at a later time, welcome. Just know you need to just communicate with us, join us. There's nothing to be afraid of here. There's never any dumb questions. So you are welcome to join us live on the show, or you're welcome to go ahead and join us by throwing your question in the chat. So if you have a question from the chat, please throw it in there. I'm gonna check both chats right now to see if I can see anything that jumps out at me. Hello, Erica, Nyla, hello. Patrick, how you doing? Hopefully everything is going great for you. Haven't seen you in a while, brother. So welcome. Remember, March, I wanna say March 18th or 19th, I forget the exact date. I'm gonna pull up a calendar. We got the Melanated Action Society. And the Melanated Action Society, we meet once a quarter. For those that don't know, you're welcome to join us there too. The Melanated Action Society. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up my calendar of events. I'm actually gonna have to look it up on my phone real quick. But March 18th, I do believe, but I'm gonna double check it right now because I didn't even think about that. But now since I saw Patrick made me think about it, because I normally see Patrick in those kind of things, right? Also, Agile for Humanity is happening, I believe, next week. I'm doing the CSM, CSPO there, and actually the Melanated Action Society was a result of 3 of us meeting at the Agile for Humanity conference last year. So we met and then we came up with that idea about MASS, which is the Melanated Action Society, which is going to happen on, let me make sure, it's going to be the 18th. Like I said, March 18th. So we have a little group. Most of you all that are in this group, if you're connected to me on LinkedIn, I sent you a message already to join that group, and you're welcome to absolutely join us. So yes, February 22nd. Thanks, Patrick. That whole the whole Agile for Humanity, I think it's the 22nd through the 25th. So Agile for Humanity, join us there too. I would grab a link for it, but I don't have a link readily available for me. But I'll make sure I communicate it on Monday so everybody knows. On that note, let's jump and start answering a couple questions. I'm going to start off here. Nyla says, let me see. Maybe I can throw this on the screen. Just give me a second here. Let me grab my comments, because comments are always important. We encourage them. Okay. So let me grab my comments and let me throw this comment up here. so you all can see it. Okay, here we go. So if you take a look at this comment right here, you see, what's your opinion on virtual groups versus live groups? Is one better than the other for networking? Now, I'm going to be really honest, right? I firmly believe that live networking groups are better. I just do. Why? Because there's something different about meeting someone face to face. Okay? But I think that virtual networking groups have a large advantage over live networking groups. And that is, you can attend them from any place on the planet, right? I mean, there are groups that I've attended in California. Now, me personally, I try to train, when I was doing around the country training, I tried to only train in 2 time zones, Eastern and Central. If I wasn't in that time zone, I wasn't training there. I may not have been coming to your company if you wasn't in those 2 time zones, right? And so realistically, to have the opportunity while COVID's happened to really, really attend a California user group or be involved with some people in Africa on a regional scrum gathering or India, I'm able to touch people I've never been able to touch. Patrick says it said it perfectly right there. And I'll throw Patrick's up there real quick. Greater reach and more diverse folks. That's one of the huge advantages you get from actually having the virtual groups. So the question that comes in my mind is that networking handshake thing that I love, that I've always loved, it may be going away, people. It may be going away. Because if you take Patrick, for example, Patrick, I've met Patrick physically, but Patrick and I have been in the same rooms again and again and again. So if Patrick came to me and Patrick could set up a meeting with me right now, and I'd be like, okay, Patrick, let's go ahead and have a conversation, right? And if we wanted to go and have a virtual coffee, me and Patrick, we can do that anytime, right? I believe if I reached out to Patrick right now and say, hey man, are you available later this week? I want to just chop it up with you, get to know you a little bit better. I guarantee you, Patrick probably won't meet with me. No, I'm just joking. Hopefully Patrick would meet with me, right? I won't assume that Patrick would meet with me, but I'm assuming that Patrick would actually meet with me because I would have no problem meeting with Patrick. And, even if it's a 15, 20-minute meeting, right? We get to know each other a little bit, talk about each other's family, get past, the actual normal humdrum questions, right, that you go through when you're first talking to someone. So realistically, I really, really like those virtual groups. And when I tell you, when I attended a few that was in Cali and other places, like the people in California have a very different way of thinking than us people from the Midwest, or now I'm in Texas. People over in Africa have a very different way of thinking. In India, a very different way of thinking, right? So when I think about that, I say, okay, all right, I incorporate the way people think, right? Because I want to get different perspectives. I really, really do. It's just like when I think about diversity, right? I just recently wrote an assignment. I wrote a paper on religious diversity. Now, I'm not a religious guy at all, but the idea is that when I think about people who are Muslims, of the Islamic faith, right? When I think about all that stuff, right, and I think about the post 9/11 world and how things dramatically changed for them in America. Okay, I really enjoy talking to people that live in Arab countries, right? Primarily Muslim countries, right? Because they just have a different perspective. They really, really do. I enjoy talking to people who may live in other Asian countries where they have less of an individualistic culture and more of a family-based group moving forward together culture, right? So those kind of perspectives kind of flavor almost everything that you move forward with. So when I think about that virtual group, I get way more of that. So for me, at this particular point in my life, as I transition and get more back to regular life like it was pre COVID, I'll definitely will look for live things to attend where we can have a handshake and talk face to face. But I don't think I'm gonna stop ever attending virtual meetups. I don't think I'm gonna ever stop attending virtual meetups because there's no reason for me to stop attending them because again, it gives me more opportunity. So, am I partial toward the live? I definitely am. And I'll tell you this much, right? You give me some ideas about. For those that don't know, I'm actually in a PhD program, and at some point I'm gonna have to write a dissertation. I just started it. Just finished the first quarter. I got A's, so I'm good. But here's the deal. I need to write a dissertation on something. And I want to write my dissertation on an agile related topic, right? And if you think about user groups, that might be a good topic. Live groups versus virtual groups, right? And what's the difference in being with a virtual group? Because I'm real curious as to face-to-face communication right now, right? In this virtual world, do we get more benefits from being virtual than we actually did face-to-face, right? And so it really is a major thing that I want to investigate, but it's just going to take me a little bit of time to figure that one out. So that being said, anybody with any other questions, please go ahead and drop them in the chat. As Patrick says again, it is definitely more cost effective, especially for those people who have limited means. And forget limited means or not, right? The truth of the matter is, I really get different people. I really get different opportunities to shake it up with all kinds of people. And like I said, I really don't think I'd had the opportunity to meet Patrick face to face except for a major conference. And even when you go to a major conference, it doesn't mean that you're going to meet the people that you're looking forward to meeting unless you have a reason to cross paths with them, right? So, it's a little bit different. I was asked today, am I going to the Denver Scrum Gathering? I don't know. We'll see. And so there's supposed to be an Agile Alliance meeting that's happening too. So am I going to go there? As a matter of fact, if you want to do a paper for it, I think midnight tonight is when the call for papers just kind of dies off. So the idea is that I believe that face-to-face is better, but I just think virtual is just going to take over. I just really, really do. I just haven't seen him outside of my comfort level, because I can only say it's a comfort level. Outside of my comfort level with face-to-face, that's the only reason why I think I hold on to face-to-face more than I hold on to virtual right now. If you really, really think about it right now, if the pandemic had not happened, the people that are here right now probably wouldn't even be here. You just think about that. If the pandemic had not happened, would you really have been here prior to, COVID? Probably not, because I probably wouldn't either. Okay? So for me, it just has opened up more opportunities, right? I love face-to-face. I can't help you. I don't know how you can't love it, right? Love it to death, right? But then again, I say, Ryan agrees with me. I agree with face-to-face. I love it. But is it because it's nostalgic? Is it because that's what I'm more used to? Because, like I said, there's some people I'm having major, great conversations with virtually, and I know more about their kids and their families than I would have ever known if we weren't virtual, right? And then on top of that, virtual has given me an opportunity to attend more. Literally, I'm able to attend more things virtually. Like, I can attend two or three meetups in a day because of time zone differences. I really can, right? And just find a way to dip myself in, dip myself out. And then it allows me to also kind of be a bee or a butterfly. That's a whole open space thing, right? But sometimes I want to go in and pollinate, and other times I just want to be social and just fly around and just go from space to space to hear a little bit and then just go dip someplace else, right? Whether a topic interests me or not, it allows me to choose my level of engagement, right? We've all have been to user groups. Well, we've all been involved in a meeting of some kind where we were not interested. And then it was boring us so much that it was killing us, right? So it's, that convenience I can't really be upset about. But it's the other things that are really important. And Nyla goes ahead and say, great points. She prefers virtual for convenience, but agree with that, it's good to do both. And I'm going to say, do both. They both have strengths. They both have weaknesses. And really, with me, I'm going to say it to you this way. With every person that I know virtually, I'm letting you know right now, whoever you are, I'm going to meet you live face to face. If we've had those kind of exchanges, so I look at Patrick as an example, I will make a plan to meet Patrick someplace in the next 5 years, right? We're going to meet someplace, we're going to break bread, we're going to chop it up, we're going to do what we came to do. So that's really, really what it's all about for me is, we got these virtual relationships, but we're going to make it a face-to-face thing at some point to solidify it. So for sure, I think both is what you should do. And as you said, now to build those deeper relationships, I think is really, really super important. I'm going to go ahead and, hey, Nicole, thank you. You actually gave us a couple comments. When we first started this show, Nicole, here's the deal. Our audio was horrible. I was learning, we was figuring it out. We was trying different experiments, and really we just wanted to get on and run experiment after experiment after experiment. But please, please, please binge on these videos, right? Come join a Scrum class with me at some point in the future. But you got questions, come here. But thank you for your comments and sending those comments to me. I saw them. I do read the comments as they come across to us, and we did deal with those audio issues. So hopefully this sounds much better than those things did. Hopefully this does. Even though I got roughly the same equipment, right? I really, really do. I really got roughly the same equipment, which is crazy. I didn't know what I was doing. Let me be real. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm trying to figure out how to set it up and all this other stuff. And, like a month prior, I was like literally a month prior to that, I was like, we're going to do this and we just going to do it. And I'm over here trying this mic and this thing and that thing and how close do I have it and headphones. And every week I was trying something different until we got it right. So sometimes you just get out there and you just go do. And the great thing about what I do and what a lot of you all do is we get the opportunity to experiment, right? And so that would be the masterful way of experimenting if I was you. I'd follow exactly what Devon did. Jump out there, do something. Just do something. And then let people complain, right? Let people complain because their complaints are trying to make you better, right? They really are, right? So please binge watch those videos. There's probably 60, 70 of them out there. And I actually stopped chopping them up. Because I would chop them up into smaller pieces, but I'm going to get back to chopping the live videos up so people can get those small snippets, right? Like this is a good one that we'll probably chop up, right? For people to get those nuggets because I did separate it and we'll start separating them based on topic. So thank you, Nicole. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's important. I'm glad you saw the earlier videos. Everybody, you go to the YouTube website, join or subscribe there. I'll go ahead and grab that site as we speak right now. Just go ahead and join and look, here's the deal. Subscribe. Why do I want you to subscribe? I need to get to about 1,000 people, 1,000 subscribers. That's what I want to do this year. So by the end of the year, I want to make sure that we're at 1,000 subscribers, even though I just put it into YouTube. Y'all on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. Those that are not on YouTube, go to YouTube and subscribe, okay? So please, please do that. Now, let's continue our conversation. Hey, Cynthia says, really simply, she prefers face-to-face. So I'm going to throw this on the screen real quick. Let's see. Where's your comment at? It's right there. She has a preference of face-to-face. Virtual environments allow greater touch points for individuals from various states and countries, right? I think both of them have their advantages, some pluses and minuses. So I think both of them are great. I love them. It's just that I know that I'm going to be doing both. I know I'm going to be doing both. Now, if I go to a meetup right now, like go to a user group, I'm going to be masked up, though. So don't be upset at me. I'm going to be masked up. I don't play with y'all people in this whole COVID-19 thing. But I've probably been sick a couple times from COVID-19. Actually, I passed out on the on the rental bus. Like December 2019, I'm on the rental bus coming from Chicago. I'm traveling every day on the plane, and I'm hearing these inklings about this thing happening in Wuhan, and I don't have nothing to, and I'm on the bus, man. I'm holding on, and and next thing you know, I'm on the floor. I literally passed out. I was so sick. I didn't know what was going on, right? And I think I had it then, and then I woke up and people were like, "Are you okay?" And I just bounced up, went straight to the plane, went to sleep the whole way, went home, went to bed. So I may have given some couple people COVID in December 2019. I didn't even know it, right? Because I didn't know what was going on, because that's never happened to me. I literally just passed out. I got so hot. I was out. But again, I try to stay healthy. But yes, I would say hardcore. There's a preference for me with face-to-face. But I'm starting to get this. I'm getting this. Man, I'm really working this virtual thing. I really am, and doing everything that I can to get myself right. So wait a minute. Okay, I'm glad I'm coming through loud and clear, Patrick, because Nicole was getting on me. She was like, "Get that audio together. Get that audio together. What's wrong with you?" That's what Nicole was saying to me. She was just like, "Get it. You got a problem." I'm like, but the video's a year old. I can't do nothing about it right now. But I mean, we were really trying, man. When I say we was really trying, we was really trying. It was a hard fight to get us there, but we really tried, right? Let's see. Let's talk about this next one. I got Nyla asked the question. Let's see. Certification question: is a CTC or CEC worth it? I'll say yes. My wonderful and great friend Sherry Silas wrote a book called Enterprise Coaching. It's an amazing book. I actually wrote a foreword for that book, so I'm glad she allowed me to be a part of her journey in writing that in writing a foreword for her. Right. But I would read that book. Sherry came to me many years ago, interested in becoming a certified Scrum trainer, and I gave her some hardcore advice. I'm bluntly honest with people to a fault, and sometimes it doesn't come off well, but what you can't say is that it's not real. It is absolutely real, and I gave her some real advice, and that was many years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, and now Sherry is just one of the top CECs that exist. And if you don't know what I mean, certified team coach, certified enterprise coach, right? If you actually been coaching, if you really truly been coaching, it's a worthy thing to get. I don't have it. I thought about getting it, but I got some other things I'm trying to do. But the idea is that I think CTC and CEC is both worth getting. Not just for the accolades, but I think getting it, you'll become a part of the community, being a guide within the community, and the journey there is probably the most beautiful part of it, because there will be other CTCs and ECs that will help you get there. Okay, so I encourage you to do it wholeheartedly. I encourage you to do it, right? So good question, excellent question. Okay, Nicole says, "Do you mind speaking about the career paths a Scrum Master has?" The world is your oyster, man. I mean, the world is your oyster. There is no one career path for a Scrum Master, because a lot of people think that a Scrum Master, let's just think about it this way. I never have limited myself in terms of my career, because you can go to a lot of organizations that's doing Scrum, okay? And let's just say you go into an organization to just become a Scrum Master. You're working with 2-3 teams, and that's what you do, and that's it. That's great, okay? That's one place you can go as a Scrum Master. You can take that a little bit further and become an agile coach, right? Where you're dealing with maybe another level, right? Or become an enterprise level coach where you're dealing with another level. So normally when you're a Scrum Master, it graduates toward more coaching things, where you might be a team coach and then ultimately an enterprise coach, and you just move forward in those kind of directions. For me, I took mine to business ownership. Yeah, I just took mine to a whole different path, right? I said, well, I'm really the asset. So why don't I go ahead and just create an organization and really consult through my organization and provide services that people may need? And so for me, the career path was just to become a business owner. But inside of a company, some companies have different levels, like a junior scrum master, a senior scrum master, an agile coach, enterprise level coach. So those are the normal things that I see inside of organizations. But that doesn't mean that you got to go in that path. You can also go own your own stuff and create your own things the way that you want to. A lot of people question, well, when can I become a scrum master? Well, create yourself as a scrum master. I mean, if I get my kids and I make my kids do chores using Scrum, am I not the Scrum Master at that point in time? I really am. So the point is, there's no one career path. I think that the places where you can go with Scrum is as different as the places that you can go as a project manager, as a business analyst, as a developer, because you're actually helping people be better today than they were yesterday. And there's a lot of places to go. So I wouldn't pigeonhole myself. What I would do if I was you, Nicole, I would go find somebody I want to be like. Like I would say, this is where I want to take my stuff, and I would go in that direction. So find someone you want to be like, and then just go in that direction that you truly want to do. Not to mention, Scrum is involved in almost in every industry. So it doesn't matter the industry. It doesn't matter. I mean, I know organizations that use Scrum to help make prototype clothing or sample clothing, right? It ain't got nothing to do with software or anything like that. I've seen Scrum used in education, where kids are using it, right? So literally, I've seen it all over the place. So you determine where you're going to take your career, and you go from there. That's what I would say. Always be in charge of your career. Always be in charge of the direction that you're moving forward with, okay? So I'll leave it at that. But I think you go anywhere with it. I really do. And it really is something that came out of nowhere, and I'm glad that I was on it in the front end of it, right? So that's a good thing. So, so this is good. So anyway, I think we are coming toward the end of our time. I do want to make sure I talk about a couple of things before we go. First and foremost, if you haven't done so already, please like this on LinkedIn, on YouTube. On YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe. I'd love to see you as a subscriber, because I plan on reaching that 1,000-person limit, or not limit. It's not a limit. What the hell am I talking about? I plan to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So forward it to people who don't know, so they can know. They can come and enjoy some of this. We do this every Monday at 8 p.m. Central Time. Also, I want to remind you that I'm going to be doing the Self-Mastery Challenge. The Self-Mastery Challenge will be February 28th through March 4th. It costs no money. It's free. We're going to connect for about an hour every single day, and I'm going to drop some major nuggets on you, reference to your values, beliefs, for you to learn how to master things and probably do more things in this world like I do. So I'm going to show you the path on how I've done it, and we're going to do it in that Self-Mastery Challenge that is ultimately leading towards something that you really probably haven't heard about, called the Fate Masters. The Fate Masters is coming. That'll be a few months from now. So we are preparing for the Fate Masters live event, but we're starting off with that challenge. Make sure that you subscribe to this YouTube. Make sure that you are getting our emails. If you're not getting our emails, just subscribe here and send me a note. Most of you all got a way to get in touch with me, right? Put your information here. I'll make sure that you get on the list. But tomorrow we're going to start communicating that challenge to everybody in the world. So I hope you're ready for it, because the Fate Masters is definitely coming. Matter of fact, I want to go ahead and I'll drop the actual link to the Fate Masters in the chat, so then you have that available to you. But yeah, this has been amazing. I'm enjoying this journey with you all. I really appreciate you all coming to join me on a Tuesday, because I'm not normally here on Tuesdays, and I was expecting to be crickets and nobody to be talking at all, but you all are here, so I feel very fortunate to have you here. So that's a major plus for me. Here is the 5-day challenge. I'm dropping that in the chat for YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and drop that in the chat for LinkedIn as well. You're welcome to go ahead and join us for that Fate Masters challenge. I mean, the Fate Masters is going to be a whole different thing, but that self-mastery thing starts in a week and a half, literally. I'm going to have a blast. Hopefully you all will have a blast. That being said, I'm going to say thank you, Patrick, Nyla, for your questions. Rob, thanks for subscribing, right? Always come back. Next Monday is the next time we're going to do this. Nyla, thank you. Brian, thank you. I appreciate all of you all showing up, dropping me some love. It's going to be every time we go live. We go live Monday nights, 8 p.m. Monday nights, 8 p.m. is when we go live for the show. The only reason why we didn't go live on Monday today because it was Valentine's Day. But other than that, we do Mondays, 8 p.m. for this show. We got CSMs coming up. We got CSPOs coming up. We got a little bit of everything happening. So just be in touch. I love you all. I appreciate you all being here. Send all this stuff to everybody you know. And I will see you on an Agile journey, people. I will see you on an Agile journey. But join that self-mastery challenge because you'll start getting emails. I got a major email going out tomorrow morning. So join, you'll get that email and we'll take it from there. Other than that, you all, we've been here an hour. I appreciate your time. I'm going to say thank you all for showing up. Peace. I'll see you next Monday, 8 p.m. live right here. Talk to you later. Bye-bye, everyone.